You guys ready?
Yep.
I got my son's scrimmage at 1:15, so I got to get out of here.
Okay.
All right, so hey, scrimmage 2, you know, as I told the team just a moment ago, I think it was very similar in an inverse way to scrimmage 1. I thought our offensively in scrimmage 1, we put them in that backed up situation. They immediately had the right edge, the right level of focus, performed exceptionally well. Today, I thought our defense kind of rebounded. You know, we had a couple of red zone turnovers, kind of uncharacteristic of Kevin Cassis on the 1-over route, where we kind of got a drive going, and you know, he put the ball on the ground. Can't do that in the red zone. We had a couple of turnovers. I think Chris forced that ball. I think he was pressing a little bit today. You could see him. You know, there were some communication things that I think we got to get cleaned up on the offensive side of the ball. Was very pleased with the run game in general. You know, I thought our offensive line did a nice job in the run game. You know, we just got to do a better job of providing more rhythm to our offense a little bit in some of our calls. And sometimes that can be a challenge in a scrimmage setting when you want to kind of look at some specific plays. And so I thought, you know, Chris had his moments, but I think he's a better player than what he played today. And, you know, I think that's the biggest thing I took away from that on the offensive side of the ball. And then defensively, I thought we did a nice job of cleaning some issues up that we'd had in the secondary. Communication was much better in the back end today. Guys competed well for deep balls, making plays on the balls in the red zone, and so I was pleased with that. I think by and large we got out of it fairly healthy. I don't think there's going to be anything long-term, just from talking to Higgsy real quick, but that's probably the most important thing. And now we got to kind of shift gears and start focusing on game plan part of this.
Kind of nice to see the performance from the defense after last week.
Yeah,
it's kind of a mixed bag.
I think that. Well, I mean, you know, again, I've used this expression a couple times, but it's the ebbs and flows of fall camp, you know. And what we've got to do is we've got to get our team, all 68 to 70 guys, whoever gets on that plane to go to Pullman on the 1st of September. Those guys need to play together with an edge, and it's no longer, you know, offense against defense or vice versa. It's about the Bobcats, and so I think that we've seen some good positive things from both sides of the ball throughout camp, and you know, by and large, it's over now. I mean, we've got a nice little cleanup practice on Monday, and then you know, we're game planning for Washington State.
You said last week communication in the secondary was a big issue. Did guys get that cleaned up?
Yeah. I felt like that we simplified some things for them in terms of some of our coverage stuff. They played a lot faster. I thought they competed for deep balls. There wasn't. I didn't really see a lot of blown coverages, especially with our ones. I think those guys were dialed into what we were doing, tighter windows for our quarterbacks to throw in, and that's what it needs to be. And so I was pleased with the progression of our secondary in this second scrimmage.
I think having Ty on the sidelines had an influence on the energy levels of the defense, especially at the start.
Well, I think that was something that we were a little bit concerned about after the first scrimmage. You know, when you lose a guy like Gerald Alexander, who is a high energy guy, and Mark's personality is very different, we just felt like having Ty down might be a good thing for a young defense. A little bit of a calming influence when things aren't going well, and then obviously give us an opportunity to get some juice going from time to time.
Can you talk about the guard situation? That was a position that you were going to look at.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say, you know, observations here. I mean, I can tell you there was a couple busts. There was a couple times where, you know, I noticed that we had some run-throughs of the 3 technique on some stretch plays, and obviously that's going to be hard to execute when that happens. And I don't know if it came from the guard position or not. Obviously, that's something we'll watch closely when we go in and watch the film.
What has Tuiasosopo done to earn some of these elevated reps?
Well, I think it's a combination of you know, him taking advantage of opportunities and continuing to progress, and maybe some inconsistent play from some of the other guys. And so you know, that's where we're going to pay a lot of attention. You know, I mean, I feel like that's that right guard spot in particular. We've got to make sure that we find the correct guy, and you know, I think that Caleb has an edge there just because of his level of experience. And so if he can be a more consistent performer, he'll end up being a guy, and that's what we're looking for, is consistency from that spot.
Braden Conkle had a really good day today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought Braden well, you know, that was one of the things I was really frustrated with, was our safety play out of the first scrimmage, and I know we challenged those guys in particular last week, and I thought Braden, you know, stepped up today and came out and played at a level that we felt like he was going to be able to play at more consistently. You know, that was one of the things that I talked about with him, and it was, you know, you're a guy that after the last couple games of the season, we were thinking this guy's really going to make a move and take that next step, and certainly through the first scrimmage we hadn't seen that, and so it was really good to see him take that next step today and be a more productive player back there for us.
I feel like getting JoJo Henderson some 1 reps kind of put Braden on high alert a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think the competition makes everybody better, and I'm glad to see Braden respond in that manner, because obviously if he tanked it, we didn't have the right guy, and so I'm proud of him and the way he responded to the challenge. And I think JoJo's going to be a really good player for us, but I think we kind of cross-trained him between corner and safety, so that gives us the ability to make that move if we need to, and give us some more depth at either one of those positions.
You touched on this, but comfortable with Damian Washington, Bryce Alley. What their
I thought those guys
performance
had a good day. Yeah, I thought both those young men competed well, and I think they're both motivated to not let the young boys surpass them. And so I think that's probably what's best for us if those guys can solidify that position. But the reality of football is you're probably going to need some more guys.
Any more clarity at running back as far as a starter, or does that even matter?
Yeah, I don't know that matters as much. I mean, kind of my thing on that is I really don't care who starts. I want finishers. I know that's important to players because I was a player once, and I understand that that's a little bit of an ego thing. But I think Michael's done a really nice job of explaining kind of how we're going to operate in the back end and have those guys pick each other up, and we're going to need them all.
Your rookie QBs were not in red jerseys today. Did you just want to get them, hit a little bit today?
Yeah, I thought that was important. Now you see some of the defensive guys are so programmed to not hit the quarterback. There was a few times where they kind of ran by or stopped, but I thought it was important for those guys to, get a few live bullets thrown at them and get hit a little bit, and see how they responded. And so, you want to be smart with those guys, but I felt like it was the appropriate time for those guys to be live.
And the field goal kicking today, I think 4 for 4.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I told the team after. Just in general. Our punting was excellent. Even though there was not exact, but hey, we got to get work. And if those guys are shanking the ball out of bounds, nobody's getting work. And so, I thought those guys did a really nice job today, both place kicking and punting.
Luke's been so impressive. So how do you communicate that to a guy like Peppinger, who's doing a really good job making most of his kicks?
Yeah,
it might be a little half a second.
Well, the reality of it is, again, we look at what's best for the individual as well as what's best for the team in the long run. We've got kind of a unique situation there where we've got two really good kickers and they both performed well. So there might be one day where one's ahead of the other and vice versa, but at the end of the day, Gabe has a red shirt left. And if Luke can be the guy, that benefits all of us. And so, that's what I would like to see happen, is for him to assert himself and be the guy, because I know he has the talent. And if he can consistently perform, then that gives us the luxury of keeping that guy in our pocket. We did that at Boise one year. We had a guy that was thrust into playing as a freshman. We ended up redshirting him. He ended up, having a great career, and I think it was beneficial for both our program and for the individual.
Hit it.